Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ben here. I'm back again today doing another video. And the subject of today's video is going to be on basically a bunch of fun facts about NBA champions, a bunch of weird facts that I came up with while studying them. And I'm just going to kind of go through and see what is the average NBA champion composed of. So I looked at the NBA champions from the last 30 seasons, from the Bulls' first championship in the 1990 to 91 season up until the Lakers' most recent title in 2019 to 2020, the bubble season. So I also averaged out things that were in lockout shortened seasons. So one of the things you'll see is the average regular season wins. I adjusted them in the lockout year and in the bubble year to be the same length as an 82 game season. So if you're curious about that, just know that up front. And I just figured this would be interesting to see, of all the teams in the NBA, who kind of fits the mold most closely for what an NBA champion is typically. So starting off, I looked at I basically looked at a bunch of things around record. So did they have the best record in the league? Did they have the best record in their conference? And how many regular season wins did they have? And so I'll basically just go down to the averages and go from there. So typically about a third of the time the NBA champion has the best record in the league. So actually majority of the time they don't have the best record in the league. So if we think this year, that would mean that the Jazz are less likely to win because they had the best record in the league, which seems kind of funny. But then if you go over to best record in the conference, yes, they typically do have the best record in the conference, or I guess it's a little bit over 50%. So about half the time the team that wins the title had the best record in their conference. And then if we go to regular season wins, the average NBA champion has about 60 wins. That's pretty standard and makes sense to me. Nothing really out of the blue there. Next section, if we go to all NBA teams and all-star games, kind of makes sense with that too. Usually there's on average total, if we look at just total all NBA team members, there's usually on average about 2. The average team usually has the average NBA champion usually has one person who's all NBA first team, and then it's a 50-50 shot, but they'll usually at least have one on either second or third team as well. And I looked, and I think the only team that didn't, every team here I think had at least somebody on the All-NBA team at some point. The only one I found going back was the 89 Pistons had no people on the All-NBA team when I was looking, but basically every other team all time has. So it's similar story to All-Stars. There's on average 2, and they don't delineate first, second, and third tier All-Stars, but you can figure if there's on average 2 All-NBA team, it makes sense that there'd be 2 All-Star team members as well. If we go over here, the next one I want to look at was the MVP on the team. So did the current team have the MVP? So for instance, the 2015 Warriors had Steph on their team, so I counted that as them having the MVP on their team. And so the current season MVP only wins the title about a third of the time again. So if we're thinking about that, that probably means that actually Jokic is less likely to win the title because he won MVP. Moving on to the next one, I think, which is probably much more telling, I noted does the team who wins the title have either a current MVP or a former MVP on the team? And that's the case 83% of the time. So the vast majority of the time, your team has to either have a current or former MVP on it. And if you look at the teams that have never had one, or actually I guess I just looked at former for this one. I didn't look at current, but let's see what happens if we change it to be current as well. Former or current MVP. All right, so we have that one for Curry. We have, let's see if we keep going up. 2000 was Shaq. We also have 94, which is Hakeem. There we go. Okay, so let's see how that changes the numbers. So now 93% of the time, your team has to have either a current or former MVP on the team to win the title, which the only ones that didn't were the Raptors in 2019, the Pistons in 2004, and that's it. Every other team either had a current or former MVP on them. Coach of the Year, which I thought was really shocking. Only 10% of the time is the Coach of the Year on the title team. You had the 2014 Spurs with Pop winning it, and then you had the 96 Bulls with Phil Jackson because they set the wins record, and then you had the 03 Spurs with Popovich again. Does the title team have the Defensive Player of the Year? You've got Draymond on the Warriors in 2017. You've got KG on the Celtics in 2008, and then Hakeem on the Rockets in 94, and that's it. Most Improved Player of the Year. There's never been a Most Improved Player of the Year on a current title team. So, like, if you win the award that year, it means you probably aren't going to win the title. So that holds true for, like, Julius Randle, who won it this year and then didn't win the title. Rookie of the Year. Never has a current Rookie of the Year been on a title team, which again kind of makes sense since they're usually on a worse team that they're getting drafted to, so they probably won't be in title contention. The only chance would have been Magic Johnson, who almost won Rookie of the Year, but I believe Larry Bird won it, and he won a title in his rookie year, so he would have been like the one chance, but also I wasn't even going back that far. Maybe Magic actually did win it and win the title. I didn't go back that far, so I'm not sure, but so for 2020, Jordan Clarkson winning it may actually be a bad sign for the Jazz because Sixth Man of the Year's never been on a title team. A Rookie of the Year. Sixth Man of the Year, let's see here. We had one, which is Tony Kukoc in 96. He's the only winner of the Sixth Man Award in that year to also be on a title team. So, again, Jordan Clarkson, nice try. Rookie of the Year, it would have been Anthony Edwards or LaMelo Ball is who I was thinking of. It hasn't been announced yet, but neither of them would have won a title either. All-Star Game MVP, we had Kobe in 2009. We had Duncan in 2002, Shaq, and I believe it was actually Kobe in 2002, 2000, it was Shaq, I believe. 98, Jordan. 96, Jordan. So a couple, but by and large, usually not. Usually the All-Star Game MVP isn't on a title team. This one I thought was interesting. Are they back-to-back champions? So did they win a championship the previous season? It only happens about a third of the time, which I thought was interesting. Somehow I felt like it would have been way more or way less. I guess, now I'm thinking about it, it actually does kind of make sense. It's not super uncommon, but it isn't happening all the time either. So I think from that perspective, I guess that number sits well with me. This one is a big sign. This one also holds true the previous champion. That holds true for the Lakers this year. They didn't win. They got knocked out. Did they make the conference finals or farther the previous season? So the year before, were they in the conference finals or the finals? This is true about 2/3 of the time, which again makes sense. It actually won't be true this year unless the Nuggets really turn it around, because otherwise we'll have 4 new teams in the conference finals. This one's big. Did they make the playoffs the previous season? And it's true for every team except last year's Lakers, who are the only team in 30 years to win a title after not making the playoffs the previous season. This one I liked a lot. It was, does the team have the preseason odds to win the title? Let me tell you, go on to basketballreference.com and look up like preseason odds for a given season. They're really interesting. And the ones I'll tell you in particular that I found the most interesting, in 2013, the season where everybody knew that Derrick Rose wasn't going to play, the Bulls had the 3rd highest preseason odds to win the title. 2014, when again we knew Derrick Rose wasn't going to play, the Bulls again had the 3rd highest preseason odds to win the title. I think it's mainly from that being a large fan base, but that was just interesting, and it's really interesting to look and see like where were they ranked, which I have next to here as well. but about half the time the team is the preseason favorite. If we go to what was their preseason odds, I just want to point out some of the lower ones that were interesting. So the 2015 Warriors were, I think, the lowest chances predicted before they won the title that season. So they were ranked as having the 8th highest odds. The Pistons were also lower down there. They had the 7th highest odds to win the title, so they were bigger long shots. The 94 Rockets were pretty low as well comparatively. They were 7th. The rest kind of makes sense, though. They're pretty high. So the average rank is 3rd if you round up. So on average, the team that wins the title had the 3rd highest preseason odds. This one, I just was looking at coach's tenure. So how long has the coach been with the team? So like last year it was Vogel's first year with the Lakers, so I put a 1. It was Nick Nurse's first year with the Raptors, so he gets a 1. This one was interesting. So the average title coach has been with the team for 5 seasons leading up to the title. Not super relevant necessarily, but it's interesting if you look at more recent seasons. Like if we look at 2015 to present, the last 6 titles, the average duration a coach has spent with a team is 2 seasons. So that's very interesting for the modern NBA. If you compare that to, let's say, like all the 90s seasons, it's a bit higher at about the mean that we got, which was 5. And if you look at the early 2000s, let's go with 2000 to 2007 or so, the average is again 5. But it's just interesting. It seems like the longest stretch is maybe this 05 to 14, that 10-year stretch. The average duration was 7 years. So a lot of that's attributed to Popovich, though. Years removed from a losing season. So on average 6. So the team has been having winning seasons for 6 straight years leading up to a title. Again, you'll notice like the Spurs kind of throw this off, having the 17, the 11, or no, the 11 is the Mavericks. The 10 is them, the 8, the 6. And then the Bulls as well, having 11, 10, 9, and the Rockets. There's a lot of teams that have been winning for a while. There's very few that have turned it around quickly. Like the Celtics were one to turn it around in one season, along with the Lakers. So wait, let's see. I may have made a mistake here. Playoffs the previous season, the Celtics did not make it. So that puts it down to 93. All right, so I was wrong on that one, but that was a good catch right there. Let's see here. Any other ones? Average offensive rating, and average defensive rating. On average, the team is about 6th in both. The only team to ever be first in both was the 96 Bulls, which is no surprise. Some of the other best ones all time, you had the Lakers in 2000, who were 5th in offense and 1st in defense. The Bulls in 92 were 1st in offense, 4th in defense. Some of the other good ones, the Warriors in 15 and the Warriors in 17, 2nd and 1st, and then 1st and 2nd. So overall, you're going to rank about 11th for combining both of your ratings. So maybe you're 10th in offense and 1st in defense, or vice versa, or 5th and 6th, or 6th and 5th, or 7th and 4th. Either way, coming out to an average of about 11. And then pace, I just wanted to check out too. Pace is really low. If you look at the pace over the last 6 championships, the average pace is 11th in the league. If you look at the 2000s, though, let's go from 2000 to 2013. Over that stretch, the average pace was 19th, which is a bit higher. Or if we take this stretch of 2003 to 2013, that 11-year stretch, the average pace was 21st. So it really was slowing down at a certain point, and then it seemed like the Spurs and Warriors kind of ratcheted it back up to be quick for the first time in a while. So there you have it, guys. If we're looking at like what the average title team is, I think this year, how you're thinking about it, they had 2 All-Stars. They had the best record in the conference, but not the league. They had about 60 wins. Honestly, there's no team that really fits this description this season. Had a former MVP on the team. You'd say that probably puts it at the Nets with Durant. The Nets with Durant fit a lot of these bills too, with the awards winning. That knocks out the Jazz a lot. Champion the previous season, no one's going to meet that. Conference finals the year before, nobody's going to meet that. Playoffs the previous season, pretty much everybody's going to meet that except the Suns. Preseason title favorites were the Lakers, so they're out. Average placement on preseason title odds, the Nets were second, so they kind of fit that probably the best. Seasons the coach has been with the team, the Nets have won. The Suns have like 3 or 4. The Jazz have like 5, so they fit in that respect. But years removed from a losing season, the Jazz are kind of right in line with this at 5. The Nets are at like 3. Suns are at 1. No team that really fits this one very well. The average offensive and defensive ratings hitting about 11th. Again, there's no like definitive team, and pace being right in the middle of the league. I might fit like the 76ers, but based on this, it's pretty hard to tell who would be the favorite this year. And also this year's one of the weirdest in NBA history, so don't put too many eggs in this basket for this particular season, but just on the whole, once we get back to regular NBA years, this could be an interesting tool to be looking at. Alright guys, that's all I have for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting, and I'll see you next time. Bye.